powerful relief with Tums. Every game's better when you love food back.
You're gonna love GMA tomorrow when Dan and Shay perform live for you. Then Wednesday, K-pop sensation Yeon Jun brings his first solo performance only to Good Morning America's Summer Concert Series, sponsored by Norwegian Cruise Line.
Hey, Elizabeth is on our Behind the Table podcast today. We want you all to have a great day. Everybody take a little time to enjoy the view. And don't forget, you're not in it alone. We're in it together. We'll see you tomorrow.
Troy Jackson bragged about being one of Graham Plattner's earliest supporters. When the news of Plattner's Nazi tattoo came out, Jackson stood with Plattner. When Plattner blamed women for getting raped because they get drunk, Jackson stood by Plattner. And when the media reported Plattner was violent toward women, Jackson stood again with Plattner.
I want to say thank you very much to Troy.
Don't be fooled by Troy Jackson. He's another phony we can't trust. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will, and they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
You're watching ABC 7.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
Investigators believe they have found the source of smoke that caused an airplane to land in Bangor earlier this week. Good afternoon, I'm Doug Banks, filling in for Susan Farley. A Searsport teenager has been badly burned in a fire, and the Bangor State Fair is kicking off. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories coming up. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Happy Thursday afternoon. We have a small craft advisory that remains in effect until tonight at around 8 p.m. Watching for active surf that continues to remain an issue with an area low pressure that continues to track off towards the north and to the east. The radar and satellite continues to push some rain showers in. At the moment, the lightning has backed off, so just general rain showers that we are going to be watching throughout the daytime period, and some dry hours as well. When it's dry out, we'll be under a mostly cloudy sky. You can see where the center of low pressure is currently at, which is right about in here. That will continue to bring the rain showers in. We'll keep some chances tonight, and it'll gradually back off not only later tonight, but also as we head towards tomorrow. So futurecast moving forward, here's the rain showers today, gradually backing off late tonight. And then once we head towards tomorrow, we're done with the rain showers and even some sunshine across the western parts of the state. So for today, we have showers out there with low 70s for the high and that northeast wind at about 20 miles per hour. Overnight, mostly cloudy. We have showers again, but gradually backing off late with lows in the upper 50s and that north wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast this afternoon, we have showers out there. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with temperatures in the 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Good to know, Devin. Thank you for that report. Folks, first here on the broadcast, we now know what caused the smoke on board a Swiss International Airlines flight that was forced to land in Bangor back on Monday. The airline says investigations conducted so far show a charging case for headphones slipped into a seat and became jammed there. They say that damaged the device, causing it to heat up and produce smoke. The flight was en route to New York when they reported smoke in the cabin. No injuries were reported. The airline says the cockpit crew consistently followed procedures they regularly train for in the simulator. They say when there is smoke of unknown origin on board, they take no risks. The company says that is why the nearest suitable airport was immediately selected for the diversion, and the landing was given high priority as a precaution. In other news, a teenager was seriously injured in a fire in Searsport, and authorities are issuing important safety reminders. Major Aaron Turcotte says the fire happened Tuesday at Prospect Street. Turcotte says their investigation determined the victim was upstairs when she heard the home's smoke alarms activate. He says she came downstairs and found the kitchen filled with smoke and a pot of cooking oil burning on the stove. In an attempt to put out the fire, she tried to move the pot to the kitchen sink, but as she carried the burning oil, it flared up, causing severe burns and prompting her to drop the pot. The victim was initially transported to Waldo County General Hospital and then transferred to Maine Medical Center. He says she sustained burns covering 30% of her body, primarily on her legs and torso. Minimal damage was done to the home. The fire marshal's office is reminding Mainers to never use water to put out a grease fire, as it can cause the burning oil to explode outward. They also say never move a burning pan, but rather cover it with a lid or baking sheet and turn off the heat. They say if the fire cannot be controlled, you should get out of the building and call 911. Well, we have some news to tell you about out of Washington County. According to the Machias Valley News Observer, a court proceeding seeking a restraining order that would prohibit county commissioners from firing County Manager Renee Gray has been canceled. The proceeding was scheduled for 1 p.m. today in Washington County Superior Court in Machias, but has now been moved to U.S. Federal District Court in Bangor, and we'll bring you any further updates on that as they become available. And also in Washington County, a man has been arrested in connection with a fire in Harrington earlier this month that authorities say was intentionally set. 75-year-old Arthur Langley is being charged with arson and reckless conduct. The fire at 1230 Main Street was initially reported to have been caused by an outdoor burn that spread to the house. Major Aaron Turcott with the Maine Fire Marshal's Office says an investigation determined the fire was not accidental. Langley was arrested Tuesday and taken to the Washington County Jail. The investigation remains ongoing at this time. The Kennebec County Sheriff's Office is investigating an armed robbery. Chief Deputy Chris Reed says deputies responded to the Bartlett Road in Belgrade a little before 7 a.m. for a report of an armed robbery at a marijuana growing operation. He says deputies were able to determine 3 men allegedly had entered the residence, tied the couple's hands at gunpoint, and proceeded to steal all the marijuana and an undisclosed amount of cash. According to Reed, the victims were not hurt, but the suspects were there for over 3 hours, and one of the suspects allegedly pointed a gun at them while they were being tied up. Reed says it is a legal marijuana growing operation, and the Office of Marijuana Policy has been notified. He says detectives are following up on leads at this time. In other news here on this broadcast, drive sober or expect to get pulled over in Ellsworth this weekend, as multiple departments will be joining together for OUI enforcement. It's a collaborative effort between the Ellsworth PD and several other local departments who will be heading to Ellsworth to help out. The department wants to make it known that even if you get pulled over by an out-of-jurisdiction officer, it is still legitimate. They also advise folks to make sure they're not driving under the influence of alcohol or any other impairing substance, including marijuana, narcotics, and some prescription medications.
We just wanted to put the word out that we're going to be out there. That's part of the Bureau of Highway Safety National Campaign as well. But we also wanted to, just let other people know that if you do get stopped by a Bar Harbor or a Southwest Harbor officer in Ellsworth this weekend, it's completely legitimate, and they're helping us out with this detail.
Whether you're in Hancock County or not this weekend, they say driving sober keeps everyone safer. In other news, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office has acquired special kits that can help police identify a missing child. They are also called Child ID kits. Parents or guardians can complete them with information about their child and have them ready to go in the event a child goes missing or some other emergency arises. The kits, once completed, contain the child's basic information and current photo and even have a place for a fingerprint. Once completed, the kit can be stored in your home, ready for use if it is needed. It does not go into a database. Sheriff Morton says when a crisis hits, oftentimes parents are so upset and stressed that it can be more difficult to remember important information about their child or have certain needed items ready to go. That delay could be detrimental.
Time is critical. If we're able to show up at a home and this be handed over to law enforcement so they could start with this information immediately, it will have a great impact, or potentially a great impact, on making sure that a child is returned home safely.
The kits are free and available throughout Penobscot County. Sheriff Morton says he'll be working with law enforcement agencies throughout the region to distribute the kits. In other news here on this broadcast, it has been 90 days since the second regular session of the 132nd legislature wrapped up. and permanent statute laws passed during that session are now scheduled to go into effect. Alex Schley has more on what Mainers can expect.
Wednesday, dozens of Maine laws take effect, including those signed by Governor Janet Mills, as well as several that became law without her signature. Many of the changes stem from the supplemental budget, approved by lawmakers in April, despite being strongly contested by Republicans. Some of the most noteworthy changes include making Maine community colleges free permanently to residents, requiring public schools to adopt policies restricting student cell phone use, extending the Maine Affordable Housing Tax Credit, and making the administration's child care affordability program permanent. The new laws also authorize a one-time $300 relief payment for eligible Mainers, while imposing a 2% surtax on those who make more than $1 million. A series of immigration-related laws will also take effect, addressing agencies' compliance with federal immigration and customs enforcement. ICE policing creates a clear separation between state and local law enforcement and federal immigration laws and agents, barring the assistance of Maine officials in federal investigations and banning the use of Maine jails to be used to house federal civil immigration detainees. The ICE out of schools and healthcare creates protection for certain non-public areas of schools, healthcare facilities, and other non-covered locations, restricting access to federal immigration officers without the appropriate legal authority, and limiting the release of certain personal information. Lastly, ICE out of our homes laws prohibit landlords from sharing certain tenant information, including immigration status, with federal immigration authorities without a judicial warrant or other legal requirement, and bars retaliation based on that information. Other notable laws taking effect include funding for the state's first youth psychiatric residential facility, extending death benefits for certain Maine Department of Transportation employees, and creating the Office of the Child Advocate. While some of these changes will have an immediate impact, others will be phased in over the coming months. For a complete look at the new laws and how they could affect you, go to our website, foxbangor.com. Alex Schley reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, members of the Maine legislature are demanding accountability and reform in the wake of the fatal shooting in Biddeford. In a letter written to the Department of Homeland Security's secretary, they expressed horror over the shooting of Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero by ICE officers. It said in part, quote, "The reckless behavior of ICE agents and the subsequent consequences of their actions are not just endangering our neighbors and communities, they are eroding confidence in law enforcement at all levels. This does not serve to make any Mainer or American safer. It only sows fear and terror among good, hardworking people." It goes on to say, quote, "Let us be clear, this demand for reform and accountability is not at odds with our support for removing dangerous convicted criminals from our communities. We demand that such actions taken with that goal in mind be conducted with due process and constitutional protections this nation's laws guarantee," end quote. Well, in other news here on the broadcast, it is that time of the year. The Bangor State Fair is back. Our Alex Schley joins us live from the fairgrounds with more on what this year has in store. Alex?
Doug, the State Fair has been a tradition here in Bangor since the 1850s, and while a lot has changed since then, organizers say the sense of community and summer celebration has remained central. This year's fair features a number of new rides along with dozens of games and vendors. And if rides aren't your thing, the Cross Insurance Center has been turned into a giant barn with some of the best livestock from across the state. The fair is scheduled to get underway here shortly and will run through next Saturday, August 8th. Live at the Bangor State Fair, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Sure looks like it'll be a lot of fun. Thank you, Alex, for that report. Folks, we'll have more news after the break, so stay right here. We'll be right back.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
Hello, this is George Whelan, founder of Down East Direct Cremation. Over the years, you have come to trust Down East Direct Cremation as your cremation experts, creating the standard for simple, affordable, and respectful cremation care. Through these times of turbulent economy, COVID, rising energy costs, and inflation, Down East Direct Cremation has maintained our price. Unfortunately, due to the ever-increasing cost of doing business, I have been left with no other choice than to raise our price, effective September 8th, 2026. I am sorry. Of course, all current guaranteed mortuary trust agreements will be honored with no additional charges. You or anyone who is thinking of prepaying with Downey's Direct Cremation will have until then to lock in our current price of $975 complete. For more information or to schedule an in-store appointment, please call us or prepay online using the button exclusively at downeysdirectcremation.com.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers Central and Eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters turn scrap into cash.
Live from the Maine Lobster Festival in Rockland, it's the Lobster Crate Races. Watch fearless racers dash across floating lobster crates. Will they make it or take a spectacular splash? Who will stay on their feet and who will take the plunge? Don't miss the Lobster Crate Races live from the Maine Lobster Festival, Sunday, August 2nd at 2 p.m. only on Fox 22.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Most of us are still being careful with our lettuce, and for good reason. The outbreak of Cyclosporius has now reached 45 states with up to 18,000 cases and with no end in sight. Fox News correspondent Matt Rivera has more from Washington.
The Cyclospora outbreak blamed on tainted lettuce from Mexico is getting worse. The CDC says there are now up to 18,000 cases in 45 states, mostly centered in the Midwest. There have been more than 400 hospitalizations, and while that number is expected to climb, there have been no deaths so far. Health officials had linked the Cyclospora to iceberg lettuce supplied by Taylor Farms to Taco Bell. It led to a recall, but some experts say it wasn't fast enough to stop the spread.
We ended up seeing it pass into our food system here and is spreading through more mishandling.
The Trump administration is now focusing on food safety and pushing Americans to eat more homegrown produce.
It goes to the larger point that in 2023, we became for the first time in American history a significant net importer of our food, and that we've got to reverse that trend.
President Trump went a step further, suggesting last week he could punish Mexico for allowing the tainted lettuce to be shipped to the U.S.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a major tariff on Mexico because of the lettuce.
Meanwhile, health officials are urging folks to be careful with their fruits and vegetables and make sure they're thoroughly washed.
They need to be conscientious of the risk of what they're eating, right? And so at home, best practices are to have really good food safety.
The CDC says the real number of cases is likely much higher than the official count because many people recover without needing medical care. In Washington, Mala Rivera, Fox News.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer made a major anti-corruption announcement today at the National Press Club. Schumer was joined by Democratic Senators Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island, as well as Alex Padilla from California, spoke about efforts to combat corruption as part of Democrats' broader push to expose and stop what they describe as unprecedented corruption in the nation's capital and at the presidency. Schumer proposed a bill to create the Anti-Corruption Bureau, a new independent federal agency with broad investigative powers, including subpoena authority.
My bill will create a private right of action that allows Americans to recover the money Trump and his family have taken from them. Our proposal mirrors the False Claims Act, which allows citizens to file lawsuits against people who defraud the government and receive part of the civil penalty if their case is successful.
Schumer's remarks come as part of a Senate Democratic anti-corruption campaign launched in this month, which includes hearings, a public roundtable, and new legislation. The campaign is aimed at holding President Trump and his allies accountable for what Democrats say is a decade-long pattern of turning the presidency into a personal profit center. In other news here on this broadcast, the Maine CDC is reminding Mainers and visitors here to take steps to avoid contact with bats. They say while bats play an important role in nature, they can also carry rabies. The warning comes after multiple bats in Maine have been tested positive for rabies. The disease is serious. It can affect people, pets, and livestock. The CDC says without timely prevention, it is almost always fatal. Rabies spreads throughout the bite or scratch of an infected animal. They say people should avoid touching wildlife or animals they do not know. As of July 17th, 5 bats in Maine have tested positive for rabies. It's good to know there. All right, folks, after the break, there are concerns about screen time for kids. We'll have more on that after the break. Stay right here.
Keep your boat safe, functional, and beautiful with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales rep can help you choose the perfect lift for your boat. Shoremaster's exclusive Whisper winch offers the industry's smoothest and quietest operation. Add speed and convenience with a Shoremaster lift motor. And Shoremaster's modular Infinity design makes it easy to upgrade with accessories when you're ready. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
Susan Collins broke her promise to protect Roe v. Wade. When Donald Trump called, she cast the deciding vote for his Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. States are banning abortion without exceptions, and women are dying. But Susan Collins says,
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins to stop breaking her word. Stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
Situated in Jonesboro on the coast of Maine lies Barren View Golf Course, a true links course that's a treat for golfers of all skill levels. We feature a driving range, putting green, practice sand trap, pro shop, and snack bar. Open 7 days a week. Please call ahead for a tee time.
Keep your vehicle running smooth this summer with help from Frost Garage.
It's really hot in my car all the time.
We'll get you AC service, no problem.
Really pulls to one side and shakes a lot.
Sounds like you need some front-end work. Not a problem.
It really used to fly. Now it barely just chugs along.
Could just need a tune-up. We'll take a look.
No matter the issue, Frost Garage will keep your vehicle safe all year long.
I'd say it flies now.
At the Challenger Learning Center of Maine, our mission to inspire Maine students has never been stronger. Our newly renovated facility is open and ready to launch. We have upgraded simulator rooms, refreshed learning spaces, and new hands-on STEM experiences. Check out our exciting upcoming events for students, educators, and families. There's always something happening at Challenger. Ready for liftoff? Explore what's new and what's next at the Challenger Learning Center of Maine. Visit astronaut.org for details.
David Muir, the most trusted, most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 4th year in a row.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. I'm Doug Banks. Allowing your kids too much screen time may have a negative effect on their brain. ABC's Alex Stone has a story.
After a long day, it may be tempting to sit your children in front of a TV or tablet to keep them occupied, but the Surgeon General warns that overdosing screens, especially when kids are younger, carries real cognitive and developmental risks. A new advisory stresses that excess screen use is linked to learning difficulties, developmental delays, and mental health issues. These effects can start in childhood and last into adulthood. According to the Surgeon General and other childhood health experts, children under 18 months should have no screen time. Those under 6 years old should have less than an hour every day. And 6 to 18-year-olds should have a max of 2 hours per day. To achieve these goals, parents should set clear limits with frequent check-ins, schedule screen-free activities and no-screen meal times, pay attention to what your kids are watching, and set a good example by modeling healthy behavior with your own digital habits. With this Medical Minute, I'm Alex Stone.
In other news, Senate President Matty Daughtry sponsored a bill that became law and went into effect yesterday. That new law increases access to vital vaccines. It strengthens accessibility to critical vaccinations and establishes a process for the Maine Vaccine Board to seek funding through the state in times of financial crisis. This would ensure continued access if federal financial support becomes disrupted. Additionally, it protects pharmacists from malpractice liability and ensures protection to continue vaccine availability. Daughtry released a statement saying in part, quote, evidence-based accessible vaccines are an absolute necessity for Maine's public health. Access to vaccinations allows people to live their lives freely with protection, peace of mind, and in many cases, life-saving care, end quote. Daughtry adds that this new law reflects the legislature's commitment to public health protection. All right, folks, after the break, Devin Biggs has your full 5-day forecast, so stay right here. We'll be right back.
Driving is what drives me. But when the day winds down, it's back to the daily drive. That's why I choose AAA Auto Insurance. Wherever the road leads, AAA is by my side.
ABC 7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains to sea, standing strong and true. This is Maine, this is home on ABC 7, Fox 22.
Peter Van here. You know, I thought growing up would be the worst, but then I found a way to hack adulthood. It's called AAA. With AAA, I'm covered from roadside to poolside, and insurance and member perks that make adulting a breeze. With AAA, it pays to be a member.
Welcome back, folks. Here's Devin Biggs with your full 5-day forecast. Devin?
Thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. That small crowd advisory will expire tonight at around 8 p.m. We're watching for active surf that continues to remain an issue. As the buoys, let's check those out right now at around 4 to 7 feet according to those. So again, that's why that advisory is up. Further off towards the north and east, it's picked up a little bit too as the contours are becoming less dark blue and more of a light blue. So farther off towards the east, we're at around 5 to 6 feet. So while uniform, it's definitely a mess out there at this time. Meanwhile, water temperatures are in the lower to middle 60s. We have upper 50s right here, upper 60s there, and now down into the middle 60s at this moment in time. Meanwhile, on land, we've had rain tracking from the south and going toward the north, rotating around this area of low pressure. You notice the lightning has backed off. Our lightning tracker is on, so not as much lightning going on at this point with this area of low pressure. So just showers for us today. Otherwise, a mostly cloudy sky. The center of low pressure is just outside of the state, so we're going to slowly track off towards the east later on tonight and a little bit to the north and east too. We'll lose the rain overnight, and then for tomorrow, we're looking good. Futurecast looks like this. Showers for the rest of the day and dry hours too. As we head towards overnight, we'll start to lose the showers. Even sunshine across the western parts of the state. As we head towards your Friday, we'll slowly get these clouds out of here too as we head towards Friday night. And then once we head towards your Saturday, that's when they'll finally start to clear. So it'll take a bit, but eventually we'll get these clouds out of here. So dew points are going to be up there for a little bit too. Look at these. So overall, some 60s, a few 50s too. But look at Monday into Tuesday, even some 70s on the way. So it's going to be getting humid again coming up. So for today, mostly cloudy, showers, low 70s for the high, northeast wind at about 20 miles per hour. By tonight, still some showers, but backing off later on. Mostly cloudy. We'll have fog out there too. Lows in the upper 50s, north wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mostly cloudy. The western area is seeing some sunshine with highs in the upper 70s and at north wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And your extended forecast becoming partly cloudy for your Saturday with highs in the mid 80s, and then mid 80s again Sunday. Some showers are back in the picture. Showers and thunderstorms Monday with highs in the low 80s.
Good to know, Devin. Thank you for that report. Well, one of the most beloved parts of the Rockland Lobster Festival is the annual running of the crate races. And if you've never seen it, it's quite the athletic feat. Combining endurance and balance as contestants try to quickly maneuver over these submerged crates to reach the other side. Contestants rack up points by how many crates they are able to traverse, running back and forth. There are multiple divisions for competitors, both young and adults. You can register for the races in person on the festival grounds. ABC 7 and Fox 22 will be broadcasting the races live starting on Sunday at 2 p.m. Our Beth Jones and Craig Colson will be on the scene, so join us for a highly unique and iconic main event at the annual Maine Lobster Festival. All right, folks, that is all we have for ABC 7 News at Noon. I'm Doug Banks. Thank you for watching. We'll be back here this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Until then, take care and have a good rest of your afternoon.
This is a big mess back here.
No license.
But that's not the car I hit, though. Oh, I know that that's not the car that you say you hit.
No insurance.
I was outside when it happened.
She's a con. They came here together to con.
And a settlement that's no good either.
Did she write out the $2,500 check?
Yes, she did.
You signed a check from a bank in which you didn't have an account.
Next, Judge Judy.
Thursday at 5 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.